The Korean War began on June 25, 1950. Korean in the north and south have lived separately for over 70 years. The war was declared unofficially over in July 1953 with a total of 5 million soldiers and civilians killed. This was a military conflict between the United States and the Soviet Union, with each sending troops and supplies directly to the allies to support the regional conflict. The US backed up South Korea while the Soviet and China backed up North Korea. It was the relationship breakdown of the Japanese Empire at the end of the World War II that caused the Korean Peninsula to split in half along the 38th parallel. Japanese forces in Northern Korea agreed to surrender to the Soviet, and those in South Korea surrendered to the US. As a result of the Korean War, the conflict between the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, which is North Korea, and the Republic of Korea, which is South Korea, is still present. The reunification efforts have been discussed numerous times, but they appear to be stymied by steep ideological and cultural differences that have emerged since that time. Neither South Korea nor the North Korea achieved the objective of destroying the opposing regime and reuniting the divided Korean Peninsula. Today, North Korea is well known for its powerful military. Meanwhile, South Korea has transformed itself into an economic powerhouse.
Factor or issue that lead to this conflict firstly is because the 38th parallel, when word of Japan capitulation spread in 1945, the USSR, Union of Soviet Socialist Republic, was already moving forward through Korea and destroying the Japanese army. Japan was on the edge to surrender. The United States troops were not there as they had miscalculated when Japan would surrender. Then the US planned to have a temporary division of the Korean Peninsula between the US and USSR in order to prevent the USSR from taking over the whole peninsula. The future US Secretary of State Dean Rusk and US Army Colonel Charles Bonny-Steele were requested to examine and propose a dividing line on the Korean map. While Soviet soldiers were already established in Korean northern area, they chose to divide the area at the 38th parallel since it is naturally conspicuous. The USSR agreed to the idea, which limited Soviet forces to the 38th parallel while allowing US forces to eventually take the control of the south. At this time, the division was intended to be a temporary administrative structure, and Korea was to be reunited under new administration. Secondly, ongoing conflict. Despite the fact that both leaders supported the reunification of Korea, their ideologies were not only different but also opposing. Then, 1 year later, the United States and the Soviet Union were required to remove their soldiers from the peninsula as stated in the United Nations Agreement. No actual assault occurred until midway through 1950. The Democratic People's Republic of Korea, DPRK, supported by the Soviet, saw an opportunity to unify the entire peninsula under the communist government and attack the Republic of Korea ROK. In a period of 3 to 4 months, the DPRK army completely encircled the peninsula. However, once the UN stepped in, reinforcements for South Korea came from about 15 different countries, with the US accounting for the majority. Things become much more complex when China backed the DPRK. Armed conflict came to an end in 1953 with an armistice, creating the demilitarized zone DMZ, a tightly patrolled barrier that runs nearly along the 38th parallel.
First implication that can be seen from this war is Korean territory is divided into two sections, which is North Korea and South Korea. North Korea limit their people to travel even though in the same state. This resulted in the separation of families living in North and South Korea. They are unable to meet due to the regulations and policies of the two governments, while South Korea not has limitation their people to go anywhere. Second implication is difference in political application and ideology. This is because South Korea given the people rights to give out their opinions and ideas to the government, while North Korea do not give any right to their people. Means they are trying to force the people to follow their own rule and law. Regarding this, South Korea are allowed to live their life in any way they want, whereas the life of North Korea are heavily restricted. Third implication is that lead in difference of lifestyle and economy. As we know, North Korea government was totally control their people even in their lifestyle. It is involved in their hairstyle and clothing. They must follow the rule of which a single woman can have long hair but not for married women. The clothes that they were wearing must not a crop top shirt or mini skirt, which means they cannot show too much skin. Why? South Korea give their people opportunity to style whatever they want. This is because the government has not established any regulations or procedures.
The first suggestion is North Korea should open up their economic market. There is a chance that South Korea might invest and provide North Korea with economic help if North Korea were willing to open its market to the rest of the world. Additionally, this assistance would enable economic ties between the two nations. If a collaborative cooperation is held, South Korea can push North Korea to open up its market and stimulate capitalization.
Second suggestion is North Korea has to stop developing and launching nuclear missiles, and this also was proposed by the Moon Jae-in in the United Nations to end the Korean conflict. On top of that, a nuclear weapon detonation in or near a populated area can result in blast wave, intense heat, and radiation and radioactive fallout. This will lead to massive death and destruction, trigger large-scale displacement, and also cause a long-term harm to the human health and well-being. It also will bring damage to the environment, infrastructure, socio-economic development, and social order. So it is essential for North Korea to stop the use of nuclear missiles for the sake of public.
For the last suggestion is that North Korea cannot contain the title of socialist governance system. To achieve this, North Korea must follow certain countries such as China and Vietnam, which in implementing economic and market reforms that allow private enterprise to invest freely in the country. North Korea can follow in China's footsteps and become a source of cheap labor, benefiting not only North Korea but also South Korea. So, from this suggestion, this is able to decrease the unemployment rate in both countries.
Now I will talk about the recommendations. First of all, the North Korean nuclear issue can be resolved through increasing dialogue between the United States and North Korea. The terrible catastrophe that would result for the people of Korea, Northeast Asia, and the world from the use of nuclear weapons anywhere on the Korean Peninsula must by all means be avoided. Military force should never be used by the Bush administration to resolve a conflict. If they do so, the entire Korean Peninsula would degenerate into a massive conflict, and regardless of who wins or loses, the Korean people and the US forces in Korea would suffer significant losses. The deployment of military action might put not just the Korean Peninsula, but also Northeast Asia and the entire world in jeopardy of a potential wartime catastrophe. Secondly, becomes an integral member of international community. North Korea must accept international standards for peace in order to be a full participant in the international community. Because of this, concerned countries should use every diplomatic means available to convince North Korea to join the global community. North Korea must grab the opportunity, as Pyongyang, for example, needs to alert if the Bush administration shows a green light on this matter. Whether using a bold strategy, new and bold approach, or any other strategies, the Democratic Republic of Korea should utilize the opportunity it has to pursue the enhancement of relations with the United States. The international community should influence either directly or indirectly to establish trust among North Korea to join the international community. Last but not least, the transformation of ROK-US alliance. The ROK-US alliance should be transformed from a collective defense system with the primary purpose of deterring North Korea to a regional cooperative security system that would serve to advance and uphold peace and stability in Northeast Asia. It is foreseen that if the North Korea nuclear issue is resolved, relations between the parties concerned will significantly improve. Northeast Asia has generally been integrated into a market system since the end of the Cold War. This is the likelihood of creating a multinational security regime. We are aware that there are various approaches to create a multilateral cooperative security system, such as expanding on the existing regional alliance system that helps to avert possible crises on the Korean Peninsula and as well.
In conclusion, there hasn't been a written and lasting peace agreement between the two Koreas as of yet. But the conflict on the Korea Peninsula has been a severe conflict that has lasted for a long time. It started when the two Koreas agreed to a post-Cold War ceasefire. The most serious issues is how little the international community is paying attention to the North Korean nuclear program, which can affect on the global security. About 65 years, the Korea Peninsula is currently experiencing conflict in the DMZ. Despite numerous attempts to bring the two Koreans together through dialogue, cooperation and exchanges. Through dialogue and diplomacy, which were facilitated by the South Korean leader issuing foreign policy, especially for North Korea, such as a transatlantic policy. South Korea has frequently established good relations with North Korea over the past 10 years. The goal of the policy is to lessen the political and military conflict on the Korean Peninsula.